In today's video, I'll share with you a squeeze setup which is triggered today and has had an 86% win rate over the past 15 years, going all the way back to 2008. Now, in particular, this setup has not just one trigger, but two different squeeze signals on the daily time frame, which means we have two different backtest strategies that we can run to get a very good idea of what we expect this squeeze to do inside this particular symbol. Now, there's two things I have on the agenda for today. The first is going over the NVDA trade. That squeeze is officially fired, and you'll also get a chance to know what we're looking for in terms of an exit. After that, we'll move on to the setup today that we're discussing, which is inside of Visa. Ticker symbol V, and we'll take a look at what the charts look like along with what the backtesters look like. Now, before we run into the backtest results of Visa, I thought it might be useful to see what the backtest results are separated by a 5-year and a 15-year time period. So here I have a table with the two different trigger dates. The first trigger took place 2 days ago, 5/15 on Monday, and that was the Slingshot Squeeze. Running the Slingshot Squeeze strategy through our backtester, over the past 5 years, that has had a 100% win rate, triggering 7 times and being a winner all 7 of those times. And then we expand the data from 5 years to 15 years, and here we can see that the data goes up to 19 out of 22, so more data points, 22 total trades, and 86% total win rate. Next up, we have the squeeze signal strategy, which is triggered today, and here we're repeated the same idea, a 5-year and a 15-year backtest. Now on the 5-year backtest, we have 1 loser, 6 winners, so an 85% win rate. And over the past 15 years, we've had a total of 22 trades. Out of those, 17 have been winners, so 77% win rates. So across the board here, you can see the Slingshot Squeeze has a slightly higher backtest result, both on the 5 and the 15-year. And the fact that both of these two signals are triggering while we have backtest results, which for the most part in both cases are pretty nice backtest results, I think leads for Visa to be a nice strong setup worthy of discussing in a video. Now, let me show you first NVIDIA, and then we'll move on to Visa. Now, starting off with NVIDIA first, this is what the charts look like when we set up the entry. We just had a squeeze signal that had set up, and we were looking at the charts 2 bars after that based off of a really nice positive backtest. Now, since then, so that was this candle right here, NVIDIA pulled back one additional day. We then had the bar start to take off. The squeeze had the first fire right here, and then it pulled immediately back into the squeeze. And finally today, it's gotten going, and we've surpassed that first target of 295, currently at 301.78. So this is what the ideal setup that we're looking for with regards to our squeeze signals looks like. Now let's switch gears to Visa so we can apply the same principles to set up a new trade. Here inside of Visa, you'll see signal number 1, which is this yellow arrow. That was the Slingshot Squeeze. That was on 5/15. And today, 5/17, is where we have this blue arrow triggering, which is the squeeze signal. All of that to say, we expect this momentum to start to get going here, and we hope that Visa gets its feet underneath after we see this blue signal. Now, from the charts perspective, before we dive deeper into the backtesting stats, if we zoom out, there's 2 things that stand out to me. One, if we use our Fibonacci high to low from 2020, the March 2020 high to low, we're still following that roadmap here, the overall retracement roadmap. We've gone and hit that 1272, pulled back to that 50% retracement, and now getting right back close to that 1272, which to me, I have the bias that this opens up room for that 1618 near 263. Another thing that stands out, point number 2, is this trend line or this channel that we've been inside of ever since about September of 2022, where we've gone to the upper edge of it, come back down, and now it's looking like we might be going towards the top end of it, which could overlap nicely as price eventually hits with that 1618. We also have some midline targets as a result of that channel, which I think is a little bit more realistic for shorter term areas that you might be looking at. So those are the daily time frame things that stand out inside of the chart. Now let's load in the backtester to get a better understanding of what each of these two stats look like. I'll start with the Slingshot Squeeze backtester first. And for Volatility Box members, you can download this for free from our website, tosindicators.com/squeeze-course. It's included for free with your membership, so be sure to check it out. And you'll also find scans to find symbols like Visa. That's how I found Visa today. Now inside of Visa, we can see the backtester currently going back 5 years is showing us 7 winners, 0 losers like we saw on the table. The average winner has a gain of 4.49% and the average duration right around 25 trading days. So that gives us an idea of how long we expect this move to take place, especially for those of you that are options traders. You might want to at the least multiply this by 2 in terms of looking for your DTEs for your contracts. Now, if we go from our 5-year period here and we expand this to max available, we can see how the data changes. Now we have 22 data points, 19 winners, 3 losers. Average winner, more or less the same, 4.69%. The average loser here, a little bit greater, 7.5%. And the average still a little bit longer than I think we're used to seeing, 16 days, 17 trading days if we round up from when the signal triggers. So overall, the key takeaways from the Slingshot Squeeze backtester to me are consistently strong high win rate. In the case that the squeeze starts to go against you, it does hurt a little bit more if we load back max available data here. And if we use just recency bias with the past 5 years, this has a fairly nice backtest that would lead to having more confidence in the setup compared to no data. And to me, that helps to lead to a little bit more confidence inside of this setup. Now let's load in our squeeze signals backtester where we had a couple losers and we can study those as well. Whoops, squeeze signals, there we go. Now inside of the squeeze signals backtester, we had one signal most recently where that squeeze fired long and we're getting one more signal right away here. If we go back and take a look to see when this loser was inside of Visa, that one loser came at the beginning of that 2020 drop. We had the bullish squeeze signal. Before the squeeze fired, price completely reversed. So we had price starting to get going. That reversed as of that COVID news where everything basically started to tank. Outside of that, Visa's squeeze signal has been a consistent winner as well going back 5 years. Average winner, 4.36%. And this average loser was a painful one, 9.18%. Average trade duration here, 19 trading days. So we're starting to see that general pattern of 20 plus trading days in terms of the squeeze panning itself out. Now, if we give this the max available data inside of Visa, here we see something similar, that max loss is a little bit, or average loss, excuse me, is a little bit greater than the average gain. And we do have a little bit more losers here compared to that 5-year period. Average trade duration has gone down a little bit for the most part in Visa, but I do think that giving it your trade a little bit more time to work itself out makes a lot of sense given the past 5 years worth of data. Now, if I get rid of all of the backtesters and we use our knowledge from the backtesters to build some sort of summary or some sort of game plan here, we know that we expect the trade to take a relatively long period, call it 20 plus trading days. So if you are looking at something using options, 2x would be the July monthlies as your monthlies that give you that first option of having more than enough time. Now, using that, we projected about a 4.49% on the upside. So if we call 4.49% from the upside projection from where we closed today to be close to the upper end of this trend line, let's use right around 242 as the round number that we target. That's slightly below where the trend line, the halfway point, is currently trading. Now, given that we expect this trade to take a little bit longer with that 20 plus days, I don't think it's unreasonable to wait for a pullback to the market pulse, or at least use that in terms of scaling into this idea. If Visa takes a little bit of time to get going, that means we can expect a little bit more consolidation. And in that consolidation, if we do get an entry, say closer to the market pulse at 229.07, that allows us to shave off a couple more dollars from that current entry price and get a little bit more than 4.49% on the upside. So hopefully that game plan makes sense inside of Visa. We're really trying to follow the winner that we had inside of NVDA and have another trade which uses the same exact process, same exact concept to give us a nice trade inside of Visa. Hope you found this video useful. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading, and I'll see you in the next update.